Hello, I'm Dr. Brian Fraser, and in this video I'll be showing you how we can use BB Collaborate to host a kind of multi-room question-answer system that'll be suitable for the final exam. This video is targeted at the instructor side or the TA side, who will be managing the process of controlling which students go into which rooms. And so I'll be walking through the whole sequence of events to show what it is that we'll be doing and what you need to do. Okay, so to begin with here, I've got a document up with some directions, and we'll see how that plays into the process. To start with, what you'll need is the link to enter BB Collaborate. And you can either do that via your LMS like Canvas or via a link, an anonymous link. So here I'll do that, and I'm going to log in as, let's log in as Shirley. Ooh, I cannot spell. How about Betty? Betty, and we'll put in TA here. So imagine that Betty is the TA. We'll put TA at the end just to kind of keep that straight. So Betty's going to join. When you join here, you probably want to allow the BB Collab to access your microphone and your camera. I'm going to say no here just so it doesn't interfere with my recording. And then you'll say it'll work. If you want to do just text only, you can close this. When you enter, it might want to show you a tutorial. I don't need the tutorial, and I don't want to hear about all that tutorial nonsense. Okay. So now I'm into BB Collab. The first thing you want to do is open up the control panel down here in the bottom right. That gives us some controls that we're going to need. I'm currently just logged in as an anonymous kind of student, so I'll have to take care of that in just a moment. The other things you want to do is turn on the audio, so click Share Audio and Share Video. As an instructor or TA, you're going to want to have that enabled just so you get that personal connection more with the students. Okay, so now that you've logged in, you've entered your information, let's give you moderator permission. So the host of the meeting, the instructor, will have to go and find you in the attendees list. I found Betty TA, and then there's a button here for Make Moderator. I'll show that over here. I think I can do that. Yes. I'm going to bring this on screen just so you can see it. I'll click on Betty the TA, and then let me make this a bit smaller then. So this is in my window. I'm logged in as me, and so I can go here and I can say, give me the attendees, and Betty the TA, ... make moderator. Okay, so Betty is now the moderator, so she has the power to do what we need to do. Okay, so that's the first thing, is now we got the power to do that. Once I'm the moderator, I can do some other actions. And so the first thing I'm going to want to do is share a document. I'm going to share this link.txt. And so I'm going to say share content, share application screen, app windows, and then I find the one I want, which is this one here. There you go. And now everyone else who comes into the main room will start to see this message that we've got. And so when someone else comes in, that's what they'll see on the screen, which gives us directions as well as the cue. So let me just put this back. It's going to look like this to start with. And we have Betty the TA. So now we're kind of ready for students to show up. The other thing we've got already is I will have already created, or if you haven't done so, create some breakout groups. Let me just do that here. So I'll say breakout rooms, and I can create them. And so I'm going to create one down here. We'll call this one, TA Bob, if he's got a room, TA Bob's room. And we'll create another one down here for Dr. Brian's room. And we'll get a room for different people. I'm going to move my, in fact, let's do it here. We can then set up people into those. So I'm going to say start. We don't want to allow attendees to switch, so we're good on that. I'm going to say start. And now the breakout rooms will be starting. We're going to be inside the main. We can assign the different people where they need to go. And so I can, for example, click on this arrow here under breakout rooms, breakout groups, and I can then drag and drop people. So I'm going to drag me on my other machine, other login, into the room. And so now I'm all set up. That is reconnecting, and I'll be in that room there. So now let's see what happens. Let's walk through the process of what's going to happen. So now that we're set up, I'm going to log in with a student from another computer. And as they're joining, you can see on the screen here it says joining student with questions number 2. And I've now logged in, and there we have it. The directions say here that the student must enter the queue by putting a message into chat. And so I'll just bring that up on my chat. Directions are on screen, and see my other video of how to do that. Queue, please. Oops, I gotta put it in there, and then say queue, please. So now we get a little notification that student with questions is saying queue, please. I can go to the chats, and I can see that. Here we go, everyone, the chat in this area. And so I can say, okay, the queue is now student with questions number 2 is, I mean, I'll put that in quotes, whatever. Anyway, that's the person's name. That's what they logged into the system as. And now we wait and see what's going on. I'll go back over here to the attendees view, and I can see student with questions here as a participant in the main lounge. The expectation is the person who's managing this queuing process isn't actually answering questions. They're just managing the process. Now you'll note here, as an instructor, I'll put my hand up. So I'll click on, let me just show you what that looks like. This is my screen that I'd be using. I'll put my hand up down here at the bottom, raise hand, and that will show everybody my hand is up. And we can see here, hand up. That could be a signal to say, hey, I'm ready for another person to come and join me. So I can say, okay, who's next? Student with questions is up next, so let's put them in the room. So I'm going to here, I'm going to say manage groups, and student with questions goes down to Dr. Brian's room, update, and they've now left that area. I'll update the queue. Everyone can see it who's waiting, and I see now that it's going on. And as the instructor, I will then lower my hand saying, okay, I'm no longer looking for somebody else to talk to. I see that a student has joined me, and I'll answer their question. Then when I'm done that and they leave, so let me just pretend that I've answered the student's question. The student leaves. I'm now ready for another person, and I'll raise my hand up, and you can see that again. Okay, so that's the basics on moving someone around and managing that process. The last thing I want to show is what to do for chat. So with chat over here, it can get a little bit unwieldy because all the chats are in one place. So if you wanted to, for example, you could talk to everybody, or you could talk to the moderators. So you might want to say a message like, I need someone to cover assigning people getting coffee. And then somebody else might come back and say, like, I'll do it. You get the message back, the conversation going on. Oops, get us into the right spot. Moderators, I'll do it. So that's kind of cool. And the one last thing I'll show is what I might suggest is have a secondary BB Collab window up and running on your screen somewhere, and just use it for chat. Block, don't need to talk about anything. So I'll just put it up here for the chat. And then this way you could have it off to the side, and then while you are, for example, let me shrink this in a bit. While you are managing groups on one, you can have the chat on the other. So you can't really do pop-ups, but you could do multiple logins, and then you could have one here for chatting, and you could see everything going on. You might need to be promoted, have that alternate one promoted too, depending on what you wanted to do in different sessions. But they're two independent sessions, and I did it through an incognito browser window. One additional thing I want to point out is that we can use the system to help sort of a multi-level queue. So imagine that a student comes in, and I got here a student with questions, and we'll say that student with questions gets assigned to TA Bob's room. I'll update that. And then while talking to TA Bob, maybe then TA Bob goes, well, actually I can't answer your question. You need to maybe talk to the instructor, which down here is inside of this bottom room here. So what they can do is they can do the same thing that we're doing here. They can push that student back to so they can assign, move to another group, and they will put them back into the main room and update that. And now when the student comes back in here, they need to be added to the queue. And so the student will, and I'll do this in my student tab over here, the student will go into chat, and we'll say something like, queue for Brian, please. And then that way we'll see here in the chat that it comes up that they requested to talk to a particular person. I'll go back here to queue. There we go. So they want to talk to just Brian. And so in here they can say something like student with questions for Brian. And then we can track that in the general queue, and you can manage when it makes the most sense to assign that person into the appropriate room. When, say here, Brian is free, then that student can be pushed into the right room. Students may also come in knowing that they need to talk to me, for example. If I've mentioned that before, of course they might all come in saying I need to talk to Brian, in which case they get to wait. So that's the cost. Okay, that's all I wanted to show. Thank you very much. Okay, and then when you're done, just close the tabs and it all goes away. Thank you very much for watching. Have fun invigilating.